right, you're welcome back. Now it's still TVC Breakfast. Now, while Vice President Yemi Osinbajo held forth for his principal, he made a bold move, one many Nigerians have been clamoring for.
Yeah, the then acting president directed the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, to immediately overhaul the management and activities of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad. The order followed persistent complaints and critical reports about the activities of SARS, bordering on allegations of human rights abuse. To that effect, the IGP ordered operatives of SARS to wear police uniforms with full identification and conduct their operations in strict adherence to the rule of law, due regard to international human rights law and the constitutionally agreed rights of suspects.
But some civil society and advocacy groups are not satisfied with just the reforms. They want a total overhaul of SARS. They say the reforms will not achieve the required results. Let's now bring in Assistant Commissioner of Police, Public Relations Unit, Bayomi Shogunle, and security consultants, Lade in the area. They are friends of the house. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Let me start with him. Mr. Rio, well, there are people who have said that these reforms are knee-jerk reactions to the order by the Vice President.
Really? Those are cosmetic, for me, those are not the fundamental reforms required to truly revamp and then reorganize SARS and give us what we deserve as a people. Why? Because the shenanigans and then the atrocities that SARS had committed against the people, they are out of this world. You see, the information age has made it possible for us to see all manner of videos on the internet. And I'm not talking of doctored videos now, real videos. And you see SARS battering people needlessly. So many of them are out there. And I was expecting that, oh, they said they should revamp fast. Fine. Maybe they will cover papers from stakeholders, making recommendations, giving ideas or suggestions. Okay, what do you want? I mean, it's all about us, not about the SARS. But what happened? Immediately, the VP, I said the most remarkable, the IG added federal to SARS. And I asked myself, even my 10-year-old daughter was telling me, say, Daddy, how will just adding federal impact on SARS? And I was shocked. It's not a joke. It's real. Now, coming from there, they should wear uniform. Yes, that's fantastic because before, you would just see them in all manner of jackets and stuff. And they're very scary.
Plain clothes.
That's fantastic, yeah, that they're going to be wearing uniform and all of that. But it goes beyond that. It's the same crowd with the same mentality. Don't forget that. With the same psychological mindset. Just clothing them with uniform won't go any far. And I totally disagree. A lot more needs to be done. Okay? They should be taken through orientation. Absolute orientation. They must unlearn whatever they had learned and begin to learn new ways of policing. And that, for me, is the way to go.
Okay.
All right.
Let me bring Bayomi in here now. It took the acting president, the then acting president, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, to call for an overhaul of SARS after people, Nigerians, have been calling on the IGP or government to make reforms, all sorts of police, all sorts of videos and calls, social media campaigns. In fact, the hashtag #EndSARS was so popular amongst the people. Why did they have to take the acting president to do that? Does the police itself not have the capacity to listen to the people and make that change in itself?
First, let me state I'm of the Public Complaint Rapid Response Unit, not the Public Relations Department.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then,
thanks for that.
Going straight to the question you've asked, you know, the issue of police reform is a worldwide thing, and it's a continuous process. And the Nigerian police force has been carrying out the issues of police reforms based on the resources and the capacity we have. So that the acting president, as at then, gave a directive shouldn't be something new or something out of the ordinary, because when you look at history of police reforms around the world, it's always taken a political leadership to really have police reforms. Now going straight to the issue of SARS, that's, you know, the whole thing started from End SARS, the hashtag End SARS, from members of the public. And the Nigerian police force responded with Reform SARS. And after some time, and what were the actions the Nigerian police force took? Partnership with NGOs, changing of some heads of SARS formations, and changing some of the operatives of SARS. And part of the reform the Nigerian police force did was also speedy attendance of complaints made by members of the public, which we have seen dismissal of some SARS operatives. Then the vice president gave the directive to overhaul SARS, because the truth is we cannot end SARS. We cannot dismantle SARS. If SARS is dismantled or SARS is scrapped, as initially been called for, a lot of people will relocate from different parts of the country. I can tell you a lot of people will leave Lagos Island. Because of armed robbery, because of cases of armed robbery, kidnapping, and violence crime. And I want to believe that's why the vice president came up with the directive to overhaul SARS. All right. Well, many of the reforms have been, you mentioned just a few of them, quite a number of them as well. That one is that they will now have to go through psychological tests, many of them, and then yes, mental tests as well, and then SARS, no longer SARS but federal SARS, and all of that. But some of these reforms, if you remember, are not new at all. We've had so many of them, you know, as at December of last year, we saw many of them. But my question is, how effective do you think these reforms have been? If we look at the outcry regarding allegations, we're going to see, you agree with me that it has reduced drastically. And then the issue of psychological test or evaluation, it's something that ought to be happening. That is how it is done in other crimes. You know, police officers experience violence. In other crimes, when a police officer is involved in shooting, for instance, a shootout, there is what we call the counseling units, which most police forces outside of Nigeria, which they have. You have to take the police officer through a process of debriefing for you, so that what he has experienced will not affect the way he's going to relate with other people. We don't have this happening in Nigeria. The Nigerian police force is trying to introduce this now because it will go a long way in changing the thinking and how a police officer will relate to members of the public. But why did we not have it, since we know the importance of what you have just mentioned? Over the years, you are just trying to introduce it. Why did we not have it all this while? Well, then it will take us to the issue of inadequate funding, which the Inspector General of Police has been clamoring on. And I'm going to give you a practical experience of what happened to me in 2008, November, when I was DPO of Akobo Police Station in Ibadan. People in Ibadan will still remember this robbery incident that happened in November. 16 people were killed, including 4 police officers. 2 of my police officers were shot dead right beside me. And for months, I wasn't so much interested in the job again, you know, because of the violence, the psychological effect of the violence, and it took a personal effort, not even from the police, not even from the government of Nigeria, for me to get out of that situation. I attended private counseling for me to get out of that situation. But a lot of Nigerian police officers are going through that on a daily basis. And unfortunately, people say they want to use consumption of alcohol or cigarette to suppress such situation, whereas it's actually aggravating such a situation. So these are things we should have. Then if you have, it was the Nigerian Police Force tried to establish the counseling units at a time, but it met a brick wall because even in Nigeria, we don't have mental health policy. And these are part of the thing. So you see, some of the problems are even outside the realms of the Nigerian police force.
All right. Wow. So to a great extent, that is to agree to the fact that the police has been really brutal to the people, one way or the other, due to some of these things you're talking about. But let me come to you, Oladinde. A lot of people have said that because of their experience with the Nigerian police, they have said that the police is an instrument of oppression, one way or the other. Do you think that the Nigerian police, let us not take it away from what Abami just said. Yeah. Certainly, a lot of the officers are passing through different kind of things. Yeah. But that is just a select here and there, random selection of some of them. But the police as an institution, do you think or do you feel that they are sensitive to the people and they are ready to serve the people as they're supposed to be, as it were?
That's a very huge question, because if we have to go back to the origin of policing in Nigeria as a country or as a nation, you will see that the colonial masters then used them majorly to oppress the people, particularly those who were fighting for independence and all of that, and the labor unions then. Now, coming to where we are today, I have never met him before. But I just watched the video 3 minutes before I met him, you know, on the BBC program where he was making some sense. And I told him, now what am I saying? A nation or the people get the kind of policing or that they deserve at any time. I have met the best of men in the police, and I can say this very boldly. Short of trying to market them, I will have been mentioning names. At the same time, I have met the worst that the Nigerian police at one time or the other have to offer. It took a lot of me before I could get out of their net. So it depends on where you are standing, who you are, and largely who you know. Because the last experience was at Iwo Road. Okay. We were driving a car that I've used for over 7 years, and then we were asked to park, documents, blah, blah, we gave them. And he was telling me that the renewal of insurance was fake. Now, if at the point of purchase of the vehicle, I didn't do fake insurance paper, why would I at this point? All entreaties failed. We were taken to one city place in Ibadan. I can't remember the name now, which was obviously a police station, okay? And from there, I simply called the numbers in the public space where you can report, you know, such misbehaviors. Yeah. And then they called them from there. They didn't know I had the numbers anyway. And then they called them and said, somebody just called from here now. Everybody was shaky. They had to beg me before leaving that place. Now, I am not an average person. I won't say that. If that had happened to the regular average Nigerian, he would have had to part with money. I was asking that young man, I said, look at me. I should be about 30 years older than you. And you think you can have your way with me? No way. I mean, I had that courage and prayers of mine to say that. How many Nigerians have that? And because of our nature, we're always in a hurry. They have capitalized on that several times to unleash terror and mayhem on the people. And that is why I was 100% in tandem with an agreement with him that there is a need for psychological evaluation at all times. It's not a one-off thing. It's a process, and it should be continuous. Okay. Forget about this money thing. They will never have enough resources.
All right, let me stay with you. He mentioned something very important. What the police officers go through.
They work under extraneous and difficult, I can say that.
And you and I can bear witness that what you go through can affect the way you work.
Their psyche and everything, that is true.
Some time ago, there was a report that was done on police college. And then if you saw the environment, if you saw the facilities, oh my God. And then you wonder, these are people who serve you and I as Nigerians. The conditions were horrible.
They're being trained in that seedy environment. It was unfortunate. The good thing was that somebody had the courage to shoot that video, and then it was made a public item. It was unbelievable to me because I used to go there to play squash and didn't know that within that environment where policemen were being trained, it was that bad. Again, I give kudos to the media men who did that job, because immediately that thing came to the public, action was taken. Go there now, it's a fantastic situation. But you see, on a daily basis, they encounter troublesome, terrible moments. They work in harsh conditions. I've seen policemen pushing a trailer off a highway in the rain, you know, and I could feel them. But at the same time, I've seen others that you begin to wonder, who is this? Okay. There was a report yesterday of a policeman right here in Ikeja who, while sleeping with a girlfriend, slugged and died. How do you connect that with the responsible men that you see around? So my take is still that retraining and training is a continuous exercise. Okay. We should stop bothering about resources. Whatever we have, let's manage and move on.
Okay. There can't be money enough or funding enough for security or for the police.
Even in homes.
Abayomi, let's come back to this FSARS issue. Now, we see that the FSARS or the SARS, however way it is a special unit. And men of the police are selected for it. What criteria is used to select men for FSARS?
First of all, you must have served not a minimum of 4 years in the Nigerian police force. Then you must have displayed acts of bravery and gallantry. Then you must have served in one of the special units of the force, maybe the police mobile force, the counter-terrorism unit, and so on. The most important thing is you must have courage, because we are talking of assembling men that will carry gun to face armed robbers without wearing bulletproof. It's not everybody that can do that, you know. So these are part of the things. Then from time to time, we need to support these men by providing them the resources that they need. I've witnessed in the past where a policeman was shot by armed robbers. He was rushed to the hospital and he bled to death because his colleagues that took him there could not deposit 50,000 naira. This is a man that was shot in the line of duty, you know. So a lot of things we need to do a lot of things to actually get things right.
Is the police itself helpless in handling some of the, because like he said, it is not everything that is money necessarily, because when you're talking about reforms or overhaul, like this overhaul, the list of all of these things, most of them are administrative. You're going to be answerable to a new commissioner of police, and then all of you will wear uniforms and you wear tags and all of that. They're majorly administrative. Is the police itself helpless in overhauling and ensuring that these officers do the right thing? Because you said that selecting people for SARS are people who have demonstrated, you know, exceptionality or excellence one way or the other. So we expect that it is the best of the best that are supposed to be SARS members.
Of course, the police is not helpless. But the point I'm trying to make is that everything that we need to put together is not only within the Nigerian police force alone. The Nigerian police force has done the things that are needed to be done. And appropriate recommendations, even on this issue of reform SARS, are being made to the appropriate authorities, which I am aware of, things that are outside the police. Then another thing we have to also understand, again, is that not all those videos that we see outside are actually qualified to be called police brutality. You know, because the police is trying to arrest somebody and the person is struggling, resisting. Are we saying police should pet his head and say, because you are struggling, you can go? No. The law allows the police to bundle him using minimum force or using proportional force. You know, so those are the things, because from his opening statement, it seems to me that probably is basing and which most people are doing, they based on the videos they have seen on social media.
And there are people who have personal experience.
Exactly.
That we have even brought on the program.
Exactly.
I'm not saying there are none, because even the unit I head have seen to the dismissal of over 10 police officers in the past 2 years based on reports that were made. The most recent one happened in Ikorodu, and Charles or Motosho, who was dismissed for collecting 5,000 naira bribe. I'm not saying it's not happening, but what I'm saying is that majority of the videos out there don't qualify.
Yeah, but the ones that you have seen, are they some of them that the police is disturbed about?
Of course, yes, because it shouldn't be happening. It shouldn't be happening, but let us also realize that there is no perfect system.
All right.
There's nowhere in the world where we don't have some bad eggs that make you that abuse the authority.
All right, just hold your thought. Just hold your thought. Just hold your thought. You will respond to that. Okay. But I'd like to ask, what is the police force doing at the moment to ensure that these reforms help in molding the sort of federal SARS that Nigerians want to see? Because as I mentioned earlier, these reforms are not new. We have had them before. What are you doing differently at the moment to ensure that these ones, that they are effective now, and so that Nigerians have the kind of federal SARS that they deserve?
Part of the new things we're having includes, one, there is a commissioner of police who has been appointed by the Inspector General of Police, who will be in charge of SARS activities nationwide to coordinate the activities. That is one. Another important or new thing is the development of SOP, Standard Operating Procedure for SARS. So there are certain there are guidelines which all SARS personnel must follow regarding the activities. Then another important thing again now is that the IG has directed that SARS would only be limited to attending to armed robbery and kidnapping cases. So no more issues.
Stop and search.
Then you won't be seeing SARS officers conducting stop and search across the country. Then as we speak, SARS officers have been directed to be wearing police uniforms for now. A process is ongoing in developing a special outfit, uniform kind of, for SARS personnel. And once that is done, that they are going to be using. Then another new thing which is coming up on board is enlarged collaboration with stakeholders, human rights bodies, NGOs, foreign embassies, and so on. Civil society organizations regarding monitoring activities of SARS. And then another thing again is that there's going to be human rights desks will be established in all SARS formations. And this, we believe, will make treating cases of allegation against SARS personnel to be faster in attending to and in
But there are mechanisms for punishing acts that violate those rules.
Of course, it has always been existing. It has always been existing.
All right, we don't have all the time anymore. We just have about a minute. But Oladinde, what kind of SARS would you like to see as a Nigerian from this other side, on the side of Nigerians, briefly?
Well, I don't know why there's been so much emphasis on SARS.
On SARS?
And not the entire police force.
Oh, FSARS.
Oh, yes. I mean, but if you insist we should be limited to that, no problems. It's made very valid points and great submissions, okay? But my takeaway is this. If we say the reports, the videos and all that are not all reliable, there is never a smoke without fire. There was nowhere they brought the video that the man that they are complaining about is not a SARS person, where they will say, oh, it's not, or whatever. Again, we've not had cases of men who are not SARS men pretending to be SARS men. Get that? As in other situations. So must we now say that, oh, if nobody sins, who will God forgive? Do you understand me? That if nobody sins, who will God forgive? The question is, must people sin? Why not leave God alone to do other things? You know what I'm saying? So for me, apart from working on SARS, all the things he said, if they are done, we will see a new SARS. Again, government has to now go back and begin to look at the social disconnect, giving rise to terrorism, kidnapping, other criminalities that we are having now. There is no day now that people don't get killed for one money ritual or the other, or things that were before now unheard of. They don't happen here every day. Besides that, it is high time that the police authorities is decentralized.
All right. We have to leave you here now. Nigerians are looking forward to a new SARS and a new police system that everyone will be proud of. Just like when they travel for international assignments, they come out with the best ratings and all of that.
Exactly.
I hope we can get that from SARS.
Of course, yes. And let me just quickly add that it's also important that NGOs and civil society organizations to carry out sensitization on citizens on acceptable conduct when they come in contact with police officers.
Thank you very much, Abba Mishogunle, Assistant Commissioner of Police at the Police Public Complaints Unit Section. Thank you so much. And Olade India, your security expert, thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
All right, we've been talking about the reform, the overhaul of SARS to becoming FSARS. And we had those gentlemen giving us ideas into how things should be. Let's bring you the news update for the time right now.